Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show.
You can't escape. Be obedient and let's catch him. Shouts echoed on the streets in the center of the battlefield. After chasing and escaping, Lin You quickly rushed out of the street where he was and ran towards the garden. The Realm Alliance teams behind them were almost all over the sky and underground, surging in like a black tide. This is the advantage of teamwork. With the blessing of various group skills, even in terms of speed, he is not inferior to Lin You, under the protection of four leaves, and there are even faint signs of catching up with him. Lin Yu's power of rules was activated, and his swift shadow skill was activated. His speed increased again, and the distance between the two sides was widened. However, what he didn't expect was, at this time, a loud shout from Chu Zhenai suddenly sounded among the Realm Alliance team. Charge into battle formation, and form a formation. As soon as the voice fell, the humanoid cavalry around him spread out and formed a cone-shaped battle formation in front of the team. The next second, the speed of the troops in the entire range suddenly increased, and the distance between the two sides was gradually shortened. This is the special feature of humanoid arms. Different effects can be exerted through various battle formations and coordinated. For example, the defensive battle formation of the shield-type troops, and the charge battle formation of the cavalry-type troops. It is a type of army that attaches great importance to the ability to command the legion. It is also a type of army that only those who are good at matching and using troops can exert the greatest effect. Chu Zhenai's ability to become the leader of the Realm Alliance team should not be underestimated. Seeing the troops from behind gradually approaching, Lin You summoned the Mushroom Demon King. No need for many words. As soon as the Mushroom Demon King appeared, he immediately picked a lot of mushrooms of different colors from his body and threw them behind him, turning into a parabola and falling on the path that Chu Zhenai and the others must pass. Boom! Several huge mushroom clouds rose, and the cavalry at the front were blown to pieces. Two unlucky guys were killed on the spot. Kill the 8th level Lord of the Alien Plane. Obtain 37.84 million mana, 1 battlefield merit point, and 8th level Territory Essence X1. Kill the 8th level Lord of the Alien Plane. Obtain 65.1 million mana, 1 battlefield merit point, and 8th level Territory Essence X1. In one fell swoop, Lin You gained more than 100 million magical energy. It's a pity that there are only 2 points of battlefield merit, and it seems that they have already exchanged them for things. But the good news is, after Chu Zhenai's cavalry was blown up, the charging state was also released, and the speed slowed down instantly. Leader, if you continue to chase, you will reach the center. A lord next to Chu Zhenai warned. It is extremely risky for them to do something in a place like this. If you continue to chase, something may happen. Chu Zhenai naturally knew that doing so would be dangerous, but if they missed this perfect opportunity to kill Lin You, they would let go of a future enemy, and it would not be that easy to kill him again. Continue to pursue. There are so many of us. Are we still afraid of a few of his monsters? Chu Zhenai said in a deep voice. There are thousands of 8th level lords, and as long as they don't encounter 2 perverted monsters or groups of monsters, they will basically not be in much danger. And in order to kill the enemy in the future, this loss is completely worth it. So very quickly, they regrouped, activated their acceleration skills again and chased Lin You. In this way, while chasing and escaping, Lin You finally crossed the road he had passed before and came to the outside of the garden. After taking a look at the army of soldiers still chasing behind him, he dived directly into the garden without any further hesitation. When the lords of the Realm Alliance saw this, their expressions suddenly changed, especially after seeing the huge iron-armed giant ape in the garden. He became even more frightened. No, it's the Lord Monster, SSS level iron-armed Monkey King. He ran inside. Back off, back off. Everyone in the Realm Alliance was horrified. They didn't expect that there was such a terrifying monster here. The 9th Order SSS level Lord Monster has an average attribute of nearly 20,000. It is simply not something they can handle. No matter how many people there are, it is useless. Exclaiming, he immediately changed direction and fled away from the garden. However, how could Lin You let them leave so easily? Roar! The iron-armed ape king, who was in the center of the garden, was finally alarmed by this intruder and let out a shocking roar. The roar turned into air waves and swept towards the surroundings, frightening everyone in the Realm Alliance. He actually ran in. Does that guy want his life? Chu Zhenai looked gloomy, turned around and looked inside the garden, but was stunned, because at this time, Lin You could no longer be seen in the garden, as if he had disappeared out of thin air. Instead, a huge black shadow fell from the sky, and suddenly fell towards their team. Boom! There were screams, followed by a loud boom, and the entire ground collapsed under the weight of the iron-armed Monkey King. The soldiers and lords within a radius of tens of meters were crushed into flesh in an instant, and the ground was stained red with blood. The remaining people's eyes were splitting, looking at the sudden appearance of the behemoth, and their hearts were extremely horrified. "Run away!" someone shouted, and the lords suddenly woke up, turned around and fled with their respective troops. How could he still look as menacing as before? Originally, with so many of them, if they were organized, they might be able to resist one or two, but at this time, they had lost all will to fight and were defeated. How could they stop the terrifying power of the iron-armed Monkey King? In the blink of an eye, the iron-armed Monkey King caught up with them, and his huge body ran rampant through the team, killing everyone. Thousands of troops were blasted away, including many lords, but no one was its first enemy. Come back to me!" Chu Zhenai shouted loudly in the team, trying to regroup. However, the morale of the army was already in chaos. No matter how much he shouted, no one responded to his call. On the contrary, it was because of this that the iron-armed Monkey King's attention was attracted, and his red bell-like eyes suddenly turned back. Damn it, Chu Zhenai cursed secretly. How could he care so much? Mounted his horse and turned around to run away. However, the next second, darkness suddenly dimmed above his head, and a huge figure fell from the sky. He raised his head and saw the iron-armed Monkey King chasing after him. Chu Zhenai was horrified, and immediately asked the Dunjia guards around him to hold their shields high, form a defensive formation, and spread out a huge light shield above their heads. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the light shield cracked. However, Chu Zhenai also took advantage of the aftermath of the impact to rush out, and fled the scene without looking back, but he didn't notice that a piece of dandelion just fell down, and gently attached to his back. He ran like this for 7 or 8 minutes before finally getting rid of the iron-armed Monkey King, and arriving alone in a dilapidated market. Call! Chu Zhenai gasped and glanced behind him. Seeing that there was no Iron Wall Ape King chasing him, he finally breathed a sigh of relief and sat down on the carriage next to him, his expression extremely gloomy. In this battle, their team suffered heavy losses, and they lost an unknown number of lords. When he returns this time, he will definitely be punished for not doing things well. Just thinking about it makes him extremely angry, and he wants to tear out Lin Yu's skin and devour his flesh and blood. Lin You, with murderous intent in his eyes, Chu Zhenai squeezed out 2 words from between his teeth, his fists clenching loudly. "Are you calling me?" But at this moment, a response sounded. Chu Zhenai's expression changed, and he immediately stood up and looked at the source of the sound. However, what greeted him was 3 icy cold lights that flashed behind his neck, blocking almost all his evasive routes. Astonishingly, it was Wang and its 2 phantom clones lurking aside. Chu Zhenai was shocked. His whole body was shaken, and the armor on his body suddenly erupted into a defensive golden light. Chiong! A sound that shook the eardrums sounded. The attacks of Wang and the 2 clones were all bounced away, and 1 hit missed. Actually blocked. Lin Yu was extremely surprised. Just now, he deliberately made a noise to distract Chu Zhenai, and then let Wang take advantage of him to sneak attack from behind. He didn't expect that he could react to this. This Chu Zhenai was indeed not simple, but he wouldn't stop there. With a thought, all the soldiers were summoned by him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Countless vines suddenly rushed out and surrounded Chu Zhenai. The ivy vines spread all around, blocking the entire city. HMPH, do you think you can kill me like this? Chu Zhenai snorted coldly, and humanoid soldiers of different shapes also appeared, cutting off the surrounding vines with a knife. The sword's power continued unabated, and it shot out sharp air blades, cutting the remaining vines into pieces, and easily blocked Lin Yu's attack. 9th level equipment. Lin Yu focused his eyes, and recognized the equipment worn by those soldiers at a glance. There were more than 400 soldiers, all wearing a set of 9th level equipment. The humanoid racial talent is to improve the bonus effect of equipment. The higher the level of the source space, the higher the bonus. With Chu Zhenai's strength, he has obviously reached the full 8th level bonus. No wonder he is so confident. The total value of these equipment is probably worth hundreds of millions. In this case, he can't hold back anymore. Do it! With an order, Qin Gang launched his brutal roar, and led his team to charge towards Chu Zhenai. Wherever he went, the ground shook and cracks appeared. Defensive battle formation. Chu Zhenai quickly retreated to the rear of the troops, letting 2 rows of armored guards holding 9th level giant shields stand on top, and directly deployed defensive light shields to block the advance of the ancient tree army. He had used this light shield just now when he fought against the iron-armed Monkey King, and he could barely block attacks from monsters as powerful as the 9th Order SSS Lord. Generally, it would be impossible for an 8th level Lord to break through in a short time. As long as you delay, the lords of other realm alliances will soon arrive here. Thinking of this, Chu Zhenai couldn't help but sneered and looked at Lin Yu in the distance with disdain. However, what he saw was a huge piranha next to Lin Yu, suddenly opening its bloody mouth composed of 4 flowers and leaves. Swallow. A voice without any emotion sounded. A strange suction force suddenly emerged from the bloody mouth. His defensive light shield dissipated rapidly under the suction force, turning into wisps of golden energy and pouring into it. Death devours. It can swallow the skill effects within the specified range, convert them into its own energy, and heal itself. It is the signature skill of Tunton. Chu Zhenai obviously didn't expect Lin You to have such a hand. Seeing the majestic ancient tree army rushing towards him, his expression suddenly changed drastically. Long snake formation. With a loud shout, the shields of the armor guards around him collided with each other, forming a row of defensive walls, rotating around the center at high speed from the inside to the outside, like a swimming giant snake. Immediately afterwards, translucent snake scales made of energy appeared, wrapping the entire team. The entire team actually turned into a golden python. Boom. The ancient tree army led by Qin Gang slammed into the snake scale protection. However, the terrifying impact force did not knock away Chu Zhenai's long snake formation. Instead, it was deflected and the attack was removed by the rotating snake scale protection. Tangled. Lin You didn't stop. With an order, a large number of vines suddenly rushed out from the ground where Chu Zhenai's troops were standing, binding the spinning armor guards at once. The big snake that was originally swimming slowed down instantly. The golden snake scales also dimmed a bit. At this moment, the Demon Emperor Dragon and Demon Queen Dragon roared in the sky. Their huge bodies rushed into the sky, activated their combined skills, and circled at high speed over the battle formation in the opposite direction. The next second, a fierce wind blew up, and it suddenly fell from the sky. Change formation. Fan Yuan. Chu Zhenai didn't panic at all. After shouting in a deep voice, he split the vines with his long sword hand and rescued the Dunjia guard. Then, the armor-defying guards intersected in pairs, using their shields as shells to encircle other light-bodied mobile units, and then connected with each other to form an iron barrel. The strong wind swept past, but it was unable to shake them at all. Blocked. Lin You was extremely surprised. He didn't expect Chu Zhenai to have so many tricks. He used the battle formation tactics of the humanoid type of troops very skillfully. They were definitely the strongest among the 8th level lords he had ever seen. Just thinking about it, the strong wind dissipated, the savage roar ended, and the plant momentum weakened. Seeing this, Chu Zhenai immediately changed his formation, front arrow formation. With an order, the army of ironclad soldiers suddenly spread out, moving quickly while resisting the attack of plants. The armor-defying guards were on both sides to resist damage, while the cavalry and swordsmen formed a cone formation in the middle. After a battle of gold and iron, the weapons in the hands of all soldiers were attached with a golden blade light, as if cutting through the air, and even the momentum was suddenly lifted. Rush. Chu Zhenai pointed his sword forward and charged towards Lin Yu's position. The entire huge team turned into a sharp arrow, suddenly knocked away the ancient tree defense, and rushed into the rear despite the mushroom bombardment. And those ancient trees that were knocked open, were cut open by the golden sword light, and unfathomable wounds appeared one after another. It seems that this is a battle formation that improves attack, and also has a knockback effect. Stop them. Lin Yu looked gloomy and gave instructions to the plants around him. Upon hearing this, the Mushroom Demon King immediately retreated quickly with the bombing mushroom army, and gave up his position. Then there was a sound of breaking through the air, and countless vines rushed out of the ground, forming an airtight defensive net in front. At the same time, the life curtain and the protective barrier opened to protect the plant legions. The menacing charging battle formation collided with the defensive net in the blink of an eye, and the forward momentum was stopped. What? Chu Zhenai's expression changed. He didn't expect that his most powerful charge formation could be blocked so easily. But I don't know. Lin You had already asked Symbiotic Moss to activate the Desperate Treasure effect, converting all attributes into physical constitution. Although it only lasted 10 seconds, it was enough to block his attack. This also put Chu Zhenai into a situation of heavy double teaming. You lose, Lin You said indifferently. As the voice fell, a large red light emerged again, suddenly mentioning the attributes of all plants. The shocked Chu Zhenai's expression changed suddenly. He did not expect that Lin Yu's explosive method would be restored so quickly. In panic, he immediately changed his defensive position and retreated quickly. But what greeted them was the ancient tree legion led by Qin Gang, which formed an encirclement with Lin Yu's rear troops, and directly launched a fierce attack on them. Immediately afterwards, the cannon took action, and dragon flame bullets that penetrated everything were shot from the mouth guard. Feeling the terrifying power contained in this attack, Chu Zhenai did not dare to hold back. He activated the secret treasure effect of the Dunjia guard, unfolded the shields one by one, wrapped them in, and stopped his original retreat. This is a military secret treasure that reduces group damage by 50% at the expense of mobility. It is also a defensive method that Chu Zenai was proud of. With the blessing of this secret treasure, absolutely no 8th level lord can break through his defense. As long as he survives Lin Yu's burst, and relies on his defensive formation to delay others, he will be the winner in the end. Thinking of this, Chu Zenai smiled. Boom! Sparks exploded on the shield, accompanied by a crisp click sound. The smile on Chu Zenai's face also froze at this moment. The dragon flame bullets continued unabated, and penetrated directly through the bodies of the armored guards in the front row, killing them on the spot. How come? Chu Zenai's pupils shrank suddenly. He looked at the Dunjia guard lying on the ground in horror, and subconsciously stepped back. But at this moment, a flash of cold light struck at the back of his heart. It was Wang, who had been waiting for a long time. Puff! Blood splattered. At the critical moment, Chu Zenai relied on his extraordinary consciousness to avoid Wang's fatal blow, and a bloody hole was pierced in his shoulder. The severe pain made his face turn pale, and he staggered to the side and hid behind the soldiers' attack. Unexpectedly, Lin You didn't give him a chance to react. With a single order, all the plants suddenly rose up and bombarded his remaining troops indiscriminately. Without the support of battle formations and secret treasures, Chu Zenai was unable to resist the attack of plants. In a blink of an eye, the entire army was defeated. The soldiers fell in pieces and became the rations of various plants. Spare my life. I can give you whatever you want. Chu Zenai shouted in shock. His face was horrified, and he no longer had any image at all. Do you think I would let someone who wants to kill me go? Lin Yu sneered and gradually raised his arms. Then, under Chu Zenai's shocked gaze, a sky full of wooden thorns condensed in the air, and a layer of blue ice was attached to it. This is the power of rules. How can you use the power of rules? Chu Zenai's eyes were horrified, and a sound like a cock being strangled came out of his mouth. The last trace of reason in his heart was finally overwhelmed by fear, and he retreated in panic. The next second, the wooden spikes fell with a crash, completely engulfing him and the soldiers around him. After a burst of screams, there was no more sound. Kill the 8th level lord of the alien plane, obtain 300 million mana, 2 battlefield merit points, and 8th level territory essence x1. A cold reminder sounded in my mind. Lin Yu paused after hearing this. He didn't expect there to be so much magic power. Originally, he now had 300 million magic energy, and adding these 300 million, it directly reached the exaggeration level of 600 million. It seems that this guy has exploited the resources of other lords a lot before. Suddenly, Lin Yu noticed several things glowing next to Chu Zenai's body. Something actually exploded. Surprised, a few steps immediately came to the body and picked up all the things. Counting carefully, there are 5 items in total: a humanoid territorial sacred object and an SSS level military secret treasure should have been exchanged by Chu Zenai for his battlefield merits. There is also a scroll, which is the troop upgrade scroll he is collecting. This guy is truly worthy of being the leader of the Realm Alliance, and he is indeed extremely rich. But what Lin Yu didn't expect the most were the 2 remaining items. Name, Origin Crystal Core. Grade, Rare. Introduction, after use. The upper limit of the original space range is increased by 1000 meters. Name, Orb of Faith. Top level. Grade, Rare. Introduction, after use. You can directly obtain 5,000 points of Power of Faith. After reading the properties of the 2 things, Lin Yu's eyes widened. Can this thing be exchanged through the exchange interface? He didn't remember these 2 things in the redemption interface. And even if it is a random draw, it is impossible to draw 2 rare items at once. Could it be that? Is this a reward for destroying the cornerstone of the position? If that were the case, it would make sense. But even so, Lin Yu was still extremely excited. 5,000 faith, plus the 5 faith orbs he just exchanged, is exactly 10,000 points. That is to say, he can finally rise to level 9. This is simply an unexpected blessing, a windfall from heaven. Taking a deep breath, I finally calmed down my restless heart. Then look at the holy object and secret treasure. Territory sacred artifact, Master of Control, humanoid system, level 1, battle formation effect plus 5%, duration plus 5 seconds. Level 2, battle array effect plus 10%, duration plus 5 seconds. Level 3, battle array effect plus 15%, duration plus 5 seconds. Level 4, unlocked, territory skill, Master of Command, Commander of the Army, passive, when activating the battle formation, the attributes of all arms are increased by 10%. Characteristics, territory, battle formation effect plus 30%, duration plus 15 seconds. Characteristics, universal. The effect of the holy object increases with the scope of the original space. Military secret treasure, charge into battle. Secret treasure type, special. Secret treasure level, SSS level. Secret treasure effect. When launching a charge, the speed is increased by 40%, and there is a 40% chance to repel the enemy. Unfortunately, both of them can only be used by humanoid weapons. You can exchange it for other treasures when you get back. As for the 9th level equipment of those soldiers, they have been basically damaged in battle, their value is plummeted, and there is no need to recycle them. After putting his things away, Lin You called all his troops back to their original space to heal their wounds, then rode on the Demon Emperor Dragon, and hurriedly left Fangxi. This battle can be said to be extremely thrilling. If you are not careful, you may be surrounded by thousands of lords and die. Fortunately, he had enough tricks, and with the interference of the iron-armed Monkey King, he finally killed Chu Zhenai, who was alone in the chaos. Thanks to this guy for sending him so many resources, the plan to upgrade him to the 9th level was finally successfully accomplished. All he had to do was return from the battlefield before he could upgrade directly. Chu Zhenai's death did not have much impact on the situation on battlefield number 1. On the entire battlefield, there are still a large number of ancient lords scattered all over the battlefield, and they are constantly hunting down the surviving lords from all walks of life, in various areas. Those lords also tried to organize and launch an attack on the Eternal Realm positions, but they all ended in failure. Until noon on the last day, the long-lost reminder finally sounded in the minds of all the lords. Congratulations to all the lords for successfully surviving for 3 days in the battlefield of all realms. The 10,000 realms battlefield is over, and teleportation is about to take place. Please be prepared, all lords. Finally going back, in a corner of the battlefield, Lin You silently raised his head and looked at the sky. Then, he clicked on the resource interface and took a look. A total of 800 million mana, which is much more than the last battlefield. These were all accumulated by him during this day to eliminate monsters and kill the lords of the ancient realm and the people of the Realm Alliance. Counting the 500 million stored in his territory, the total is 1.3 billion mana, which should be almost enough for him to upgrade to the 9th level. It's not worth his hard work during this period. As for the attack on the Eternal Realm position, he did not participate because he knew very well that with the disparity in numbers and strength between the two sides, it was basically impossible to break through, and the results proved him right. When the transmission was about to begin, a reminder sounded in his mind. The cornerstone of the Eternal Realm position has not been breached, and the battlefield mission has failed. Really? The mission on battlefield number 1 cannot be completed every time. The moment the voice fell, white lights lit up everywhere on the battlefield, and all the surviving lords were teleported back to their respective realms. Lin You, who was waiting, also had his vision distorted and fell into a state of weightlessness. Aha! There was a flash of light. When he stood still again, he had returned to his own territory. Looking at the familiar world tree, and the long-lost scenes around him, Lin Yu's tense mood instantly relaxed. I'm back alive. Haha! I successfully survived another round of battlefield. Brothers, come out and say hello. At this time, a large number of messages began to appear on the Principality channel. The lords who had just returned to their territories were all excitedly discussing their experiences and gains on this battlefield, and the entire channel was extremely lively. Lin You read the news for a while, then came to the world tree, and began to sort out the harvest from this battlefield in preparation for upgrading to the 9th level. Although it was only for 3 days, but his gains this time are not small. The first is the power of faith, 5 high-level orbs plus 1 top-level orb, a total of 10,000 points of faith. The second is the rare military token, Dark Blue Dream, and the common beast token, Phantom Black Lizard. Finally, there are the humanoid sacred objects and secret treasures obtained by killing Chu Zhenai, as well as 2 troop upgrade scrolls. Each of these things is worth a lot of money, especially the original crystal core, which is equivalent to the value of 10 original crystals. If he guessed correctly, this should be the reward Chu Zhenai received after destroying the cornerstone of Wangji Yifeng's position, which was equivalent to the rewards of the battlefield missions they accepted. If such a precious thing were taken out, even the 9th level lord would covet it. Unexpectedly, he got an advantage in the end. It can be regarded as completing the battlefield mission in disguise. It's just that it was not completed by his hands. After taking out the things one by one and putting them away, Lin You took the lead in picking up the Orb of Faith. Do you want to use Orb of Faith Advanced? Whether to use Orb of Faith Top level. Use them all. As the voice fell, all the orbs of faith turned into flowing light and merged into the world tree. Lin You quickly clicked on the territory interface and took a look. The power of faith finally succeeded in breaking through 50,000, reaching the level required to upgrade to the 9th level. However, he did not upgrade the territory immediately. Instead, he clicked on the troop interface and sent all the troops back leaving only the royal family, symbiotic moss, and 6 plant dragons for traveling. Because the level of the Deceiver Willow increases with the territory, after the territory is upgraded to the 9th level, the level of this unit will also be forcibly upgraded to the 9th level. When the time comes to mutate again, it will cost 10 times the price, which is 250,000 mana for each mutation. No matter how much magic power he had, he would not dare to squander it like this. The symbiotic moss mutated by the Deceiver Willow can not only copy the attributes of other units, but also automatically increase its level along with the territory. Therefore, all symbiotic moss must be mutated before upgrading. After thinking about it, Lin You clicked on the recruitment interface, recruited all 300 vacant positions into Deceitful Willows, and then started to mutate. Brothers, big news, the entrance to the monster plane is closed. At this moment, a different message suddenly appeared on the Principality channel. The entrance to the plane is closed. Lin You mutated his troops while watching the Principality channel, showing a surprised expression. What do you mean? The entrance to the plane is closed. Could it be that something happened on the monster plane? Could there be some accident? It's absolutely true. Not only is the entrance to the plane closed, it seems that even the teleportation from the main border city is closed. Damn it, even the main city is closed. I just tried it, and it's true. Messages kept flashing across the channel, and the topic suddenly switched from battlefield encounters to plane entrances and border main cities. It is a bit strange that these two places, one is a passage connecting to other realms, and the other is an entrance to the monster plane, were closed at the same time. Obviously, during the opening of the battlefield, something big must have happened in the realm. This reminded Lin You of the inexplicable vibration he felt on the battlefield before. Could it be because of this? It seems we have to hurry up and upgrade. Lin You felt a faint feeling of uneasiness in his heart, and the movements of the mutant soldiers could not help but speed up a lot. In less than 2 hours, 300 symbiotic moss mutated, and it cost him 1 billion mana. If you reach the 9th level and then mutate, the consumption is really unimaginable. Fortunately, the remaining 300 million magic energy is almost enough for him to recruit 9th level troops. The only thing missing now is a 9th level mutant embryo. According to Lin Yu's idea, the infinite proliferation of blood sword grass and the attribute protection of lucky 4-leaf clover are the best choices. Although the rare soldier he just acquired, Dark Blue Dream, can be considered a 9th level embryo, its skills are not suitable for making a large number of mutations, but it would take at least a month for the blood sword grass or 4-leaf clover to be developed, and he really couldn't afford to wait. Forget it, let's go to the sanctuary first. After closing the interface, standing up and patting the dust on his body, Lin You took the newly obtained battlefield treasure and teleported it to the floating islands through the portal. As soon as he stood still, he was frightened by the lively scene in front of him. Looking around, every floating island is filled with lords from various countries, some setting up stalls and selling goods, and some wandering around looking for goods. The scene of people coming and going is like celebrating the new year. Certainly, many of them received the news and came here specifically to check the situation at the entrance to the plane, and they all went straight to the central island. Lin You followed them to the central island. Sure enough, as the Lord said, the space crack connecting the monster plane had completely disappeared, leaving only an empty portal and statues standing around it. What happened? Why did the entrance to the plane suddenly disappear? There is no way to go to the monster plane. Where can I get resources in the future? Yeah, I don't know when I can recover. The emperors will definitely know about such a big matter. We should go back and wait for the news first. The lords gathered around the portal and talked about it. Everyone has different expressions on their faces, including doubts, worries, and uneasiness. But no matter what they think, they can only wait for the time being and wait for the news to come down from above. Lin You stayed for a while but didn't receive any useful information, so he left the central island and wandered around the stalls on various platforms. Suddenly, while passing by a 9th level lord's stall, his eyes were attracted by a unit token carved with plant patterns on the stall. Taking a closer look, it turned out to be the type of soldier he was looking for. Military token, Fantasy Sword Grass, Plant System, Army Level, Ordinary, Army Level, Level 9. Function, unlocks the plant type common weapon, Fantasy Sword Grass. Introduction, the advanced form of blood sword grass. Its proliferation ability has been greatly improved. Requirements for use, Level 9 territory, 2.5 million mana. That's right, it is the advanced unit of blood sword grass. Although it was not the lucky 4-leaf clover he wanted most, it was still a very good mutant embryo, which made him overjoyed. Excuse me, how can I sell this token? Lin You took a deep breath and looked at the 9th level lord, who was sitting at the edge of the stall sorting his belongings. Only exchange, not sell. The 9th level lord glanced at him and immediately looked down. Lin You didn't think much and took out the Phantom Lizard token from his personal space. Can you see this token? The 9th level lord raised his head when he heard this, glanced at the token in his hand, and was slightly surprised. This unit is indeed good, but it's not enough to exchange for my token. Why? Lin You asked, confused. Both are ordinary arms, and the value-added grass arm branch is notoriously weak with attributes only a quarter of those of the same level. Even this is not enough. This guy is trying to trick him. You don't know. The 9th level lord raised his eyebrows. After the blood sword grass soldier is promoted to the 9th level, the proliferation skill will have an additional effect, and the attributes will completely copy the original body. Complete copy? Yes. No matter how high the attribute bonus of your unit's main body is, the attributes of the splinter body will be exactly the same as the main body. Are you serious? Lin Yu's eyes suddenly burst into light. The attributes are exactly the same as the main body, which means that the bonus effects of the symbiotic moss, and even the bonus attributes of other equipment units, will be inherited by the split body. This is much more powerful than before, because the previous multiplication body will only inherit the basic attributes of the original body. The appearance of this additional effect simply maximizes the value of this unit purchase. Be sure to buy this unit token. If you want to change it, you have to add something. The 9th level lord obviously noticed the change in Lin Yu's expression and said lightly, generally, the price of ordinary 9th level military tokens is around 50 million, and those with excellent skill attributes can easily cost hundreds of millions. If you don't get something good, you may not be able to exchange it. Lin Yu pondered for a moment, and then took out the humanoid weapon secret treasure from his personal space. What about adding this? Is the head office ready? An SSS level secret treasure is worth at least 30 million, which is definitely more than enough to make up for the price difference between the two tokens. The 9th level lord glanced at the attributes and showed a surprised expression again. I can't tell. You have quite a lot of good stuff. This secret treasure is considered a small masterpiece of the humanoid type. If you count them together, I still have the advantage. I'll give you another 10 million mana energy. Make a deal. Lin Yu looked happy and immediately sent a transaction application. There are still a lot of things to sell at the 9th level lord's booth, so without further ado, select confirm and put the magic sword grass token directly on it. After several operations, both of them got what they needed. Thank you. Lin Yu expressed gratitude and happily put the token away. The 9th level lord ignored him, responded casually, and sat back in the stall to sort things out again. He seems to be a lonely person. Moreover, with Lin Yu's current level, he could not get into the eyes of a 9th level lord, so being able to talk to him so much was considered very friendly. Lin Yu didn't care. After glancing at the stall and seeing nothing he could use, he turned around and left, continuing to wander around other stalls. Good luck this time. After visiting only 2 platforms, he found someone at a booth in the corner who was selling troop upgrade scrolls, and they were selling 2 scrolls at a time. Some haggling, he finally succeeded in using the Master of Control sacred object to obtain the 2 scrolls at an equal price. Originally, the stall owner wanted to raise the price again. After all, the troop upgrade scroll was a rare grade. Using it to upgrade to the 9th level was equivalent to saving 100 territory essences. But unfortunately, the stall owner was a humanoid type himself, and he happened to be looking for a territorial sacred object such as a battle formation. One is willing to kill and the other is willing to suffer. After all, he still couldn't resist the temptation of the holy object in Lin Yu's hand. As a result, Lin Yu has a total of 9 upgrade scrolls. In addition to the 7 royal families, there are 2 extra ones that can be used to upgrade other units, such as the 9th royal family. After putting the scroll away, he walked around the platform again and sold the secret treasures of the military units that had been replaced before and exchanged them for magic energy. Lin Yu teleported back to the territory again, feeling both excited and nervous. After such a long period of running and preparing, he finally gathered all the necessary conditions to upgrade to the 9th level, and he could finally step into the level he had longed for. And his Wangsha city. It will also become the only 9th level territory in this border area. Think of this. He didn't hesitate any longer. Taking a deep breath, he slowly came to the foot of the world tree, and clicked on the territory upgrade interface. The territory has met the upgrade conditions. Do you want to upgrade? The cold prompt seemed much more pleasant than before. Lin Yu glanced around, glanced at Huangsha City in the distance, and then slowly opened his mouth. Upgrade. As the sound fell, there was a sudden booming sound all around Huangsha City, including inside and outside the forest, and began to shake violently. On the lush world tree, a vast and boundless breath of life suddenly erupted, sweeping in all directions. What happened? Is there an earthquake? Is it a monster attack? Quick, get your weapons. The people in the forest kept shouting and screaming, and they were all panicked by this sudden change and became confused. Wei Gang, who was patrolling in the city, also hurried over with his team and joined Shui Changui and other stewards outside the city. They all felt like they were facing a formidable enemy. The 9th level cultivators, who were cultivating in the forest, Yue Donan and Xiao Kanyun rushed straight out and quickly came to join them. Lao Yuao, Coach Xiao. Seeing the two people appear, Wei Gang, Shui Changui and the stewards hurriedly came over to greet them. Yue Donan and Xiao Kanyun waved to them and then looked at the source of the vibration, the world tree standing in the center of the forest. This breath, could it be? The two of them were shocked, and expressions of surprise appeared on their faces without exception. It can't be wrong. This is about to advance to the 9th level. 9th level. The Lord is going to become a 9th level Lord. Hearing the words of the two people, Shui Changui and others were shocked, and their eyes widened. 9th level Lord. That is an extremely rare existence even in the entire principality. It is said that there are only a few dozen people in the Great Wilderness Principality, and they are basically located in the center of the principality, and are looked up to by countless people. Their lord is actually going to become that high-ranking 9th level lord. Doesn't this mean, will Huangsha City also become a 9th level territory? Thinking of this, Shui Changui and others couldn't help but get excited, their faces all flushed with excitement to know. They watched Huangsha City rise step by step from the 6th level territory. I also watched Huangsha City slowly develop from a small border town to a large border city today. That feeling is really difficult to describe in words. No, we can't stand here anymore. We have to quickly maintain order, and don't cause any trouble. After the excitement, Wei Gang quickly reacted. Yes, go and appease the people first, don't distract the Lord. Shui Changui was shocked and came back to his senses. Now is the critical time for the Lord to upgrade, and they can't just wait and see. If something goes wrong that affects the Lord's upgrade, they will be blamed even if they die 100 times. So soon, several people left in a hurry and gathered their own people to maintain order, leaving only Yue Donan and Xiao Kanyun to guard the side. And at this time, Lin Yu's territory upgrade has also reached its most critical moment. Under the vast breath of life, the forest around the territory began to expand outwards, and trees and vegetation sprouted from the ground. The world tree in the center is growing rapidly, with lush branches and leaves extending out. Finally, when it grew to nearly 500 meters, there was a buzz sound, and a green light pillar suddenly rose, instantly lighting up the sky within hundreds of kilometers. The lords who were chatting in the Principality channel were also attracted by this strange phenomenon. What's going on? Why did a bright light suddenly appear in the east? I saw it too. What a terrifying smell. This aura. Could it be that someone is upgrading to the 9th level? 9th level Lord. Our principality has a new 9th level Lord. Looking at this location, it seems to be over there in the border area. I remember there is only one 8th level Lord over there, right? You mean Huangsha City? The entire principality channel was abuzz. Everyone was talking about this sudden upgrade phenomenon. There are also many people who judge that the person who upgraded is Lin You based on his position, and they find it hard to believe, because as far as they know, Lin You has only been promoted to the 8th level for less than half a year, and he has been promoted to the 9th level so soon. This speed is too terrifying. Half a year, many people may not even be able to advance to the 1st level, let alone to the 9th level, which is the closest level to the 10th level. The capital of the country. In the main hall of the royal city, Jizing, who was sitting on the throne, looked at the interface of the principality in front of him in great surprise, and also learned about Lin Yu's upgrade. Your Majesty, I have just sent people to investigate. It is indeed the Lord of Huangsha City, who has been upgraded. A minister below said with his hand. Well, I already know. Jizing closed the interface and a smile appeared on his face. I didn't expect that he would reach such a level in such a short period of time. I really saw the right person. What do you think our response should be, Your Majesty? Another minister asked. The 9th level Lord is definitely the most powerful force in the principality, a pillar-like existence. Even when the principalities measure national strength, the number of 9th level Lords accounts for a very large proportion, and they cannot help but ignore it. Even many principalities will secretly send people to win over the 9th level Lords of other principalities, and ask them to relocate to their own principality. This is also the reason why the 9th level Lords are basically in the center of the principality, because they almost have the best resources in the entire principality. Jizing pondered for a moment and said, I remember that as Huangsha City is developing trade routes. If this is the case, send someone to contact him, and connect the routes with the royal capital. It is obviously unrealistic to ask Lin Yu to move his territory to the interior of the principality. Jizing also noticed this, so he thought of a compromise method, using trade routes to keep Lin Yu. Once Huangsha City is inextricably linked to Dawang Principality, even if Lin Yu wants to leave, he will probably consider the issues of gain and loss. It can only be said that Jizing played this move very cleverly, and captured Lin Yu's weak point of need. And at this time, inside Huangsha City, after more than 10 minutes of territory expansion, Lin Yu's territory finally successfully reached the 9th level, and he received a series of long-lost reminders. The territory has been upgraded successfully. Current level, 9th level. The upper limit of arms is increased, the upper limit of buildings is unlocked, and the 9th level combat power list is opened. Unlock the Holy Object level and activate territory skills. Natural balance. The original space is improved, and new features are unlocked. Storage space. When the level reaches the requirements, the mission will be automatically activated. The Road of the Saint. The Path of Saints. Lin Yu's attention was caught by the last prompt. After upgrading to level 9, the mission will be automatically activated. The Path of Saints. The Road to the Holy Level. As soon as I heard this name, I knew it was related to the 10th level. Without hesitation, he quickly clicked on the mission details. Road to the Saint. Territory mission. Break through the shackles to become a saint. Collect the following items to condense the fragments of the Godhead. Magic energy, 400 million, 5 billion. Power of faith, 626 250ths, 000. 9th level territory essence, 3/80ths. Original space, 1/1. Rule fragments, 0/1. Gather the fragments of your Godhead. Lin Yu was completely shocked when he saw the introduction to the mission. Is this the way those lords said back then that 9th level lords could rise to 10th level? I didn't expect that it would appear in such a situation. Looking at the collection list listed above, he felt his scalp numb, because everything above requires a lot of energy and time to collect. Even many lords may not be able to meet the requirements until their death. The only thing he can meet the requirements is an origin space. That being said, the last rule fragment is what those lords said can only be obtained by killing the 10th level monster alone. No wonder so many 9th level lords are stuck at this level and unable to advance to the 10th level. The moment he saw this list, Lin Yu finally felt the huge difficulty. I quickly clicked on the territory interface and took a look. Name, World Tree, Territory, Category, Plants, Level 9, Durability, 25,000 plus 5,000. Recruitment quantity, 651 thousandths, plus 300. Upgrade requirements, Power of Faith, 627 250ths, 000. Godhead fragments, 3/1. Introduction. The prototype of the World Tree needs to be irrigated by the power of faith. After reaching a certain level, it can evolve into a world and transcend the world. Well, he looks like. Can I level up without doing this quest? Lin Yu stared blankly at the 3/1 on the upgrade requirement, which meant that he now had a total of 3 Godhead fragments. That is to say, he only needs to accumulate another 250,000 faith to directly rise to level 10. In fact, he even saved the magic energy and 9th level territory essence needed to condense the Godhead, because these things were all included in the Godhead fragments. If those 9th level lords knew about it, they would probably go crazy with jealousy. After all, the 10th level is their lifelong pursuit. 10th level, Lin Yu murmured in a low voice, with a trace of yearning in his eyes. There is absolutely no doubt about the power of the 10th level lord. The most important thing is that after reaching the 10th level, you can unlock the remaining functions of the Godhead fragment and fully unleash its power. But this is still very far away from him. 250,000 beliefs is not a small amount, and God knows how long it will take to collect enough. What he can do is to develop the territory as soon as possible and build Huangsha City into a main commercial city connecting various principalities. In this way, his power of faith can increase faster. Thinking of this, Lin Yu took advantage of the situation and clicked on the original interface to check it out. In the few prompts just now, it seems that the original space has unlocked new functions, so naturally we cannot forget this. Name, World Tree, Origin, Category, Plants, Level 9, 2,120,100ths. Range, 2,100 meters. Sacred Object Effect, all attributes plus 40%, shield plus 20%, talent effect, physical fitness plus 10%, recovery speed plus 10%, function, soul realm, racial talent, halo, summoning space, storage space. Any items other than living creatures can be put into the original space, regardless of the type of soldier. This is storage function. Lin Yu was stunned for a moment when he saw the new function introduction, and then his eyes lit up instantly. The original space after the 9th level can actually be used to store things. Doesn't this mean that he can store a large number of monster corpses in the original space and use it to swallow up a big explosion for Ivy at a critical moment? To know, his previous personal space could only hold 200 to 300 corpses. Even if all the Ivy is swallowed, the improvement effect of bloody madness will be very limited. But with this storage function, it is completely different. His origin space is inherently twice as large as other lords. He could put as many corpses as he wanted in the entire 20,000 meter space. Was he still worried that the IV explosion would not be enough? In this way, he is equivalent to having another trump card. Great feature. Lin You couldn't help but admire. Then look at the Holy Object interface. After reaching level 9, the Territorial Sacred Object finally unlocked the level 4 effect, allowing him to gain an additional territorial skill. Name of Holy Object, Natural Balance, Plant System. Level 1, all attributes plus 10%, gain a shield equal to 5% of physical strength every 10 seconds. Level 2, all attributes plus 10%, shield plus 5%. Level 3, all attributes plus 10%, shield plus 5%. Level 4, territory skill, Natural Balance. Natural Balance, passive, obtain attributes equivalent to shield durability, and distribute them equally among the 4 basic attributes. Characteristics, territory, all attributes plus 30%, shield plus 15%. Characteristics, universal, the effect of holy objects increases with the level of the source space. Lin You has been waiting for this skill for a long time. With the strengthening of the original space, the shield effect of his holy objects has reached 20%. If these attributes are evenly distributed, there will be hundreds or even thousands of points. Although it will fluctuate with the strength of the shield, it is also a very powerful group buff, coupled with the fact that the physique of the plant type is generally very high. The effect of this skill is brought into full play, perfectly matching his unit. It was the external improvement he gained after upgrading to the 9th level. Next, only the most critical part is left, the troop mutation. Lin You glanced at the sun that was gradually setting, and without wasting any more time, he immediately came to the foot of the world tree, and took out the 2 military tokens he had on him. Do you want to use the unit token, Dark Blue Dream, Rare, use? Do you want to use the unit token, Fantasy Swordgrass, Normal, use? After 2 responses, the token in his hand turned into flowing light, and merged into the newly upgraded world tree. At the same time, there are also 2 new arms in the 9th level classification of the recruitment interface. Without thinking much, Lin You directly recruited, one of each. Recruiting 9th level troops requires 250,000 mana. Do you want to recruit them? Yes? Aha! The light lit up, and 2 different yet extremely familiar plants appeared in front of Lin You. Needless to say, the dark blue dream was almost the same as the giant blue rose he saw on the battlefield before, with a twisted human face inside. The moment it appeared, countless blue thorns with buds rushed out, and spread all over the entire territory in an instant, turning his territory into a terrifying forest entwined with thorns. Name, Deep Blue Dream, Rare, Race Plant, Level 9, 0 10,000s. Power, 4,200. Physique, 4,200. Agility, 4,000. Spirit, 4,450. Skills, Deep Blue Illusion, based on thorns, constructs an illusion within the attack range, confusing vision perception. The effect depends on the opponent's spirit. Mental Disturbance, issues a mental shock, reducing the mental attributes of enemies within the range by 50%, lasting 10 seconds. Mental Storm, burst all energy, causing continuous mental destruction to surrounding enemies. The damage depends on the opponent's mental strength. Introduction, a rose plant that is very good at spiritual attacks. It can create illusions around the body, and its attacks are extremely weird. Mental attacks are rather special. Unlike other types of attacks, damage is calculated based on the opponent's physical attributes, but based on mental attributes. That is to say, the weaker the opponent's spirit, the higher the damage received, and the deeper the influence of the illusion will be. But the second skill of this unit is to reduce the enemy's mental attributes. Although it is not as perverted as the previous Lord Monster, but combined with the mental storm, it is still a very terrifying attack method. In particular, mental attacks are hard to guard against and elusive. It was simply an unexpected killing move. After studying the attributes and skills for a while, Lin You asked Deep Blue Dream to activate the Deep Blue Fantasy effect on him. The next second, the scene in front of him was distorted, and turned into a strange garden full of blue roses. He tried walking inside for more than 10 minutes, but failed to get out of the garden. Then as soon as he released the skill state, he found that he had a large circle in the territory, and the ground was full of his footprints. This skill is good, just right for matching with ivy. Lin You exclaimed in admiration, and immediately asked Deep Blue Miming to spread the rose thorns into the ivy vine forest. The combined effect of the two made the surrounding area of his territory become even weirder and deeper. If any lord dared to break into his territory at this time, he would probably never get out again, because the vine forest of ivy can also reduce the enemy's mental attributes by 10%. The two are a perfect match. Lin You nodded with satisfaction, and then looked at the highlight of the day, the unattractive magic swordgrass. Name, Fantasy Swordgrass, Common, Race Plant, Level 9, 0 10,000, Power, 2000, Physique, 2000, Agility, 2000, Spirit 2000, Skills, Hardening, Infinite Proliferation, Consuming, the power of nature, dividing and multiplying to produce the same individual, and giving it the same attributes as the original body, without being affected by other bonuses. Flying Leaf Sword Dance. Introduction. Wildfires never burn out, and the spring breeze blows and grows again. The magic sword grass has a strong ability to proliferate. It's exactly what the 9th level Lord said. The effect of the proliferation skill of the 9th level magic sword grass is somewhat different from before. In the past, it was proliferating individuals that are the same as the original body, and the effect of symbiotic moss would not be inherited. But it's different now. The attributes of the proliferating body are completely the same as those of the original body, that is, the attributes of the proliferating body are the same as the attributes of the original body. As the attributes of the proliferating body increase, the attributes of the proliferating body will also increase accordingly. It is similar to an attribute sharing effect. This change may not make any difference to the magic swordgrass, which only has 2000 attributes, but for Lin You, who has the ability to mutate, it is a qualitative leap. It even surpassed the importance of the 4-leaf clover's protection in his heart. Okay, let's start the mutation. Lin You took a deep breath, and immediately clicked on the recruitment interface to recruit the magic sword grass plants. Now he has a total of 1,300 troop positions. His plan is to build a team composed entirely of augmented units, with a total of 600 troops, paired with symbiotic moss. As for the remaining 100 positions, they are reserved for the royal family, plant dragons, equipment units and those territorial auxiliary units. This is a big project. I guess I won't be able to go to bed very late tonight. Think of this. Lin You didn't waste any more time, moved a chair, sat down, and started his mutation project. The mutation of the 9th level troops requires 250,000 mana energy. Do you want to continue? Continue? Mechanical sounds echoed in the territory. After more than 2 hours of hard work, Lin You finally completed the mutation of all the multiplied units, a total of just 600. Moreover, under his intentional control, the number of various arms has reached a very balanced level. Ancient Tree, front row, destroy Ancient Tree X100, create Ancient Tree X70, Flower Essence, treatment, Elf Elder X50, Elf Elder X40, Mushrooms, group damage, Cataclysmic Poisonous Mushroom X45, Death Poisonous Mushroom X45, Banshee Vine, Control, Poisonous Banshee X35, Nightmare Banshee X35, Bloody Banshee X33, Piranha, Summon, Devouring Flower X40, Pea Shooter, Physical Ranged, Explosive Flame Shooter X26, Ice Cracking Shooter X24, Prickly Pear, Physical Melee, Prickly Pear Boxing Master X20, Dandelion, Field Control, Bloody Dandelion X17, Sunflower, Energy Recovery, Sunflower X8, Lantern, Auxiliary, Lantern X7, Nuts, Auxiliary, Nut Barrier X5. It was the result of Lin Yu's hard work all afternoon. Looking at the vast army of troops in front of him, Lin Yu waved his hand. Proliferation. At the command, all the plants began to divide rapidly, from 1 to 2, and then from 2 to 4. There were originally only 600 units, but the number has quadrupled to an exaggerated level of 2,400. Unless he is a lord who specializes in killing soldiers, the number of soldiers will definitely not be comparable to his. As for the nut barrier, troops that were more than the original ones, they were specially retained because he discovered that they had good skills during the mutation process. Name, Nut Barrier, Normal, Race Plant, Level 9, 0 10,000, Power, 2,500, Physique, 5,000, Agility, 2,500, Spirit 4,000, Skills, Hardening, Physique increased by 30%, lasting 10 seconds. Earth Escape when encountering life danger. Immediately interrupt the skill and escape underground. Attack Absorption, forcibly absorb all attacks within 90 meters, and reduces damage taken by 50% for 5 seconds. Introduction. Strange nuts, apart from being hard and thick, seem to have no other function. The reason why Lin Yu chose to keep it was precisely the last skill. Attack Absorption forcefully absorbs attacks within range, and also reduces damage. It can just be used to share the pressure on the front row troops, and can also escape with Earth Escape when encountering danger, maximizing survivability. It is a very good auxiliary unit. The most important thing is that its attributes are very strange. Its other attributes are not high, but its physique is directly maxed out. It is simply born for defense. It is not a problem to leave a few troop positions for it then. Lin You let the 600 symbiotic moss that had been mutated before symbiotically grow on the main body of the soldiers. Then he called Qin Gang and took out a troop upgrade scroll. Should I use the troop upgrade scroll for the ancient tree of dominance? Qin Gang use. In response, the scroll in his hand turned into a stream of light and merged into Qin Gang's body. In the next second, Qin Gang's body began to grow rapidly, and he advanced into a 9th level ancient tree of destruction. He had a thick layer of bark armor on his body, his arms were much thicker, and his whole body was full of explosive power. Name: Ancient Tree of Destruction Qin Gang, Royal Family, Race, Plant, Hero, Level 9, 0 10,000, Strength, 5,000, plus 5,000, Physique, 5,000, plus 5,000, Agility, 4,000, plus 4,000, Spirit, 4,000, plus 4,000, Skills: Hardening, War Trample, Savage Roar, Gravity Field. Dominate the battlefield, increase the defense of all friendly melee units by 20%. Introduction: The ancient tree of destruction was born for war. It charges into battle and tears down the enemy's defense lines. It is the most solid shield in war. The main attributes of the newly upgraded hero units are directly at full value. However, the other two attributes are relatively low and can only be gradually improved after the experience value becomes higher. As for Qin Gang, who has reached the 9th level, his highest attribute has soared to 10,000, which is equivalent to the level of a 9th level Lord Monster. These are just basic attributes. With the addition of Godhead fragments and several halos, it can reach about 18,000, which is almost comparable to S-level Lord Monsters. Lin You looked at the other ordinary soldiers. When the symbiotic moss replicates Qin Gang's attributes, its average attributes are basically around 15,000, and there are more than 2,000 such arms. Now Lin You is fully qualified to challenge S-level Lord Monsters and above, and he no longer has to take detours when he sees them like before. He no longer even looked down upon the 9th level leader, who had pushed him into danger in the first place. The 9th level is really different, Lin You murmured to himself, and gradually clenched his fists. He felt that his strength was much stronger than before, and his reactions were sharper. Even the stimulation of the power of rules has become more and more convenient. It is no longer like before, just adding a few big skills will overload it. While sighing, Lin You continued to call the remaining royal families. Then he took out the troop upgrade scrolls, and upgraded them one by one, raising them all to level 9. There is also the heroic violet staff equipped by Linksy, which has also been upgraded to the 9th level. Finish these. Looking at the magic energy, there are still more than 40 million left. It can be used to mutate the dark blue dream, and see if you can come up with a new trick. As soon as he thought of it, Lin You directly clicked on the recruitment interface, and recruited another dark blue dream. The mutation of the 9th level troops requires 250,000 mana. Is it a mutation? Please choose to retain skills and attributes. Keep it dark blue fantasy, with random attributes. The reason why he chose deep blue fantasy is because he currently has no shortage of attack methods. The fantasy skills are the essence of the weird and changeable plant-based troops, and the effect is even better when paired with the Nightmare Banshee's charming poisonous mist. Aha! There was a flash of light. Dark blue dream turned into a Nightmare Banshee. It seems that the arms that have mutated mental skills have a high probability of being mental. Then he continued to mutate. As expected, units such as the Dread Dryad, Ecstasy Grass, and Datura Flower appeared later. Although they are all spiritual types, their skills are not very good and they can only undergo mutation again. The mutation is successful. The skill, Dark Blue Fantasy, mutates and changes to Killing Fantasy. Has the skill changed? Lin You was shocked and quickly clicked on the skill introduction. Illusion of Killing, active. Construct an illusion within the attack range, causing all targets in the illusion to have hostile hallucinations and attack each other. The effect depends on the opponent's spirit. Depend on Mass Frenzy skills. After reading the introduction, Lin Yu's eyes widened. The original Dark Blue Fantasy just makes people trapped in it and unable to escape, but this mutated skill lost the effect of trapping enemies, and became the effect of killing enemies, and let the enemies kill each other. This skill is incredible. If used properly, it is definitely a powerful weapon in battlefield melee, especially when used to break humanoid battle formations. Lin You didn't expect that the skill mutation would be triggered after just a few mutations. The original plan of using low-level troops to mutate the royal family immediately changed, because this skill is suitable for making the embryo of the 9th royal family. After taking a look at the remaining 40 million mana, Lin You gritted his teeth and immediately began to mutate this skill. The mutation of the 9th level troops requires 250,000 mana. Is it a mutation? Mutation? Please choose to retain skills and attributes. Keep the killing illusion. The attributes are random. As prompts sounded, the types of soldiers in front of Lin You were also constantly changing. In just 20 minutes, all 40 million mana was consumed, but they failed to successfully mutate into royal arms. Fuck, such a trick. Lin You cursed, quickly opened the territory interface, and withdrew Huangsha City's 20 million working capital. The money was used to build defensive walls and checkpoints. It's not time to pay out labor costs and settle material costs yet, so they can be used temporarily. I'll make it up when the time comes. Looking at the extra 20 million in his pocket, Lin You took a deep breath and continued to change. At the same time, he secretly prayed in his heart that it would be successful this time. Otherwise he will really become a pauper. Fortunately, Emperor Tan pays off his conscientious people. Just when he had mutated more than 60 times and was about to spend all his magic energy, a long-lost golden light finally lit up. The mutation is successful, the hidden effect is triggered, and the arms awaken the royal bloodline. Good. Lin You was in high spirits, and quickly looked at the mutated soldiers. Wrapped in golden light, the appearance of the soldiers was constantly changing. Finally, it turned into a dandelion with a rhizome made of thorns. Even within the dandelion clusters, vague facial features emerged. Name, Bloody Dandelion, Royal Family, Race, Plant, Level 9, 10,000. Power, 4,170. Physique, 4,400. Agility, 4,050. Spirit, 4,800. Skill, Killing Illusion, makes all targets parasitized by dandelions produce hostile hallucinations and attack each other. The effect depends on the opponent's spirit. Parasitism, spread dandelion seeds, parasitize on the enemy, suck blood, cause continuous bleeding damage, and can be tracked. Evil blood, after dandelion seeds absorb enough blood, they will bloom again and spread around. Blooming flowers, gather the power of nature to explode all dandelion seeds, causing 120% mental damage to the enemy. When the enemy is killed, a dandelion blooms on the spot. Introduction, flowers are everywhere, growing endlessly. A plant that spreads at an extremely terrifying speed. Once it reaches a large scale, it will be a nightmare for the entire battlefield. So strong. After reading the attributes of the new royal family, Lin You was shocked in his heart. Compared with ordinary dandelions, this new royal family has an additional, blooming flowers, skill. Not only is the spread ability more terrifying, but it also has an additional means of explosion, which makes up for the shortcomings of this type of unit's lack of attack. To know, the attack methods of the dandelion troops are very strange, because it is not limited to the attack range. As long as there is wind, it can spread to 10 to 100, and eventually spread throughout the entire battlefield. That's how powerful it is. What Lin You didn't expect was that even the illusion of killing skill he inherited had changed. It has changed from a range-based skill to a parasitic trigger, which is perfectly integrated with the skills of the new royal family. It is no longer limited to the attack range, and the effect is even more abnormal. He could already imagine it. What a spectacular scene it will be when dandelions bloom all over the battlefield. It will probably scare those guys, right? In this case, I'll call you Chaihan from now on. After that, Lin You took the new royal family to the hero transformation pool and transformed it into a hero unit. After a dazzling light, the arms conversion was successful, and the attributes changed a lot. Name, Bloody Dandelion Chasing Soul, Royal Family, Race, Plant, Hero, Level 9, 10,000. Power, 4,270. Physique, 4,500. Agility, 4,150. Spirit, 5,000. Skills, Killing Illusion, Parasitism, Evil Blood, Blooming Flowers, Parasite Destruction, reduce the movement speed of the parasitized person by 20%. Introduction, flowers are everywhere, growing endlessly. A plant that spreads at an extremely terrifying speed. Once it reaches a large scale, it will be a nightmare for the entire battlefield. Not bad. It is a very practical exclusive talent, and it goes well with its skill form. In the future, when fighting, you no longer have to worry about plants being unable to outrun other types of soldiers, because other types of soldiers cannot run fast either. Okay, let's go get acquainted with everyone. After telling Chaihin to get acquainted with the other royal clans, Lin You walked down from the hero pool and rested aside. He had been busy almost all day today with territory upgrades and recruiting troops, and now he was finally done. Looking at the time again, it was already halfway through the night, and it really flew by. I clicked on the Principality channel and took a look, but there was still no news about the monster plane and the border battlefield. This made him wonder. Logically speaking, if such a big thing happened, news should have spread out long ago. But now most of the day has passed, and there is still no news. Did something really happen, or are the big shots too busy to deal with it? Lin You hoped it was the second possibility, but reason told him that things were not that simple. In desperation, he had no choice but to continue looking at the chat channel, looking for more useful information. Correct. Suddenly, Lin You remembered that in today's upgrade prompt, he seemed to have unlocked something called the 9th level combat power list. Quickly click on the territory interface and search carefully. Sure enough, after a while, he found the list. It was not the Principality list he imagined, but the combat power list of all 9th level lords on the entire continent. Level 9 combat power list. First place, Zhuanglan, Lanyuan Empire, 37,199. Number 2, Jinqiankan, Chongfeng Empire, 36,230. Third place, Fengshan 2, Kingdom of Kongming, 36,015. Number 5,803, Lin You, Great Wilderness Principality, 26,071. There are more than 5,000 people in the queue. Lin You was shocked. Although he knew that he could not compete with those 9th level old monsters when he had just upgraded, he was still very surprised when he saw his ranking on the mainland. There is a full 11,000 combat power difference between him and the first place. Although I don't know how this combat power value is calculated, the gap is definitely not small, because according to his estimation, the overall combat power of the first few should be very close to that of 10th level monsters. After all, those who have the ability to kill 10th level monsters have basically reached the 10th level, and will definitely not stay at the 9th level any longer. This way, he also had a rough measure. The top few people should be able to compete with the 10th level monsters, but they are unable to kill them. Royal Arms Panel. As of now, this is a free chapter. Ling Tide. Name, Elf Elder Lingxi. Royal Family. Race, Plant. Hero. Level 9, 0 10,000. Strength, 4,200, plus 4,200. Physique, 4,200, plus 4,200. Agility, 4,500, plus 4,500. Spirit, 5,000, plus 5,000. Skills, Natural Control, Advanced, Affinity Aura, Thorn Entanglement, Power of Dominance, Natural Envoy. The power of natural spells is increased by 20%. Introduction. The royal family of fairies has a strong affinity for nature, is good at controlling summoned plants, and greatly improves the strength of surrounding plants. Ivy. Name, Bloody Banshee Ivy. Royal Family. Race, Plant. Hero. Level 9, 0 10,000. Strength, 4,800, plus 4,800. Physique, 5,000, plus 5,000. Agility, 2,500, plus 2,500. Spirit, 4,400, plus 4,400. Skills, Swallowing, Blood Poison Mist, Forest of Fear. Bloody Madness. Gift from the Earth. Injury recovery speed is accelerated by 50%. Introduction. One of the 3 Banshee branches of Poisonous Heart, Nightmare, and Bloody. It is a terrifying plant born for war. Blood can greatly stimulate its potential. The more it fights, the braver it becomes, and it has a strong oppression on the enemy's spirit. The Mushroom King. Name, Catastrophic Poisonous Mushroom. Mushroom Demon King. Royal Family. Race, Plant. Hero. Level 9, 0 10,000. Strength, 4,000, plus 4,000. Physique, 4,300, plus 4,300. Agility, 4,300, plus 4,300. Spirit, 5,000, plus 5,000. Skills, Explosive Mushroom, Explosion Mastery, Fission, Ever-Changing. Mushroom Spores. After the mushroom explodes, a large number of spores will spread out and attach to the enemy, growing rapidly and triggering a secondary explosion. Introduction. A military unit that combines all kinds of mushrooms. It can control the types of mushrooms growing on its body at will. It is ever-changing and difficult to guard against. Qing Gang. Name, Ancient Tree of Destruction. Qing Gang. Royal Family. Race, Plant. Hero. Level 9, 0 10,000. Strength, 5,000, plus 5,000. Physique, 5,000, plus 5,000. Agility, 4,000, plus 4,000. Spirit, 4,000, plus 4,000. Skills, Hardening, War Trample, Savage Roar, Gravity Field. Dominate the battlefield, increase the defense of all friendly melee units by 20%. Introduction. The ancient tree of destruction was born for war. It charges into battle and tears down the enemy's defense lines. It is the most solid shield in war. Forest Sage. Name: Forest Sage, Royal Family, Race Plant Grade, Strength, Constitution, Agile, Spirit, Skills, Sage's Light, Surrounded by Rules, Peaceful Domain, Natural Harmony. Introduction. The tree spirit has the most profound knowledge, has a deep understanding of the power of rules, is gifted by the god of nature, and loves peace. Canon. Name: Explosive Archer Cannon, Royal Family, Race, Plant, Hero, Level 9, 0 10,000, Strength, 4,700, plus 4,700, Physique, 4,280, plus 4,280, Agility, 3,800, plus 3,800, Spirit, 5,000, plus 5,000, Skills: Obsession, P-Shot, Penetration, Deadly Sniper, Precision Strike. You can accurately lock on any enemy within range and attack its weak points. Introduction. A mutated P possesses extremely terrifying long-range strike capabilities. When it reaches a certain level, it can kill enemies thousands of miles away. Swallowing the Sky. Name: Soul-Eating Flower Swallowing the Sky, Royal Family, Race, Plant, Hero, Level 9, 0 10,000, Strength, 4,225, plus 4,225, Physique, 5,000, plus 5,000, Agility, 4,000, plus 4,000, Spirit, 4,325, plus 4,325, Skills: Guardian Barrier, Death Devouring, Deprivation, Corpse Explosion, King of Flowers. Piranha-like soldiers gain 10% blood-sucking power. Introduction. A terrifying plant that awakens the power of devouring, capable of devouring all things and depriving them of all energy. Shadalis. Name: Cactus Killer Wying, Royal Family, Race, Plant, Hero, Level 9, 0 10,000, Strength, 4,400, plus 4,400, Physique, 3,900, plus 3,900, Agility, 5,000, plus 5,000, Spirit, 4,350, plus 4,350, Skills: Instant Shadow, Mirage, Shadow Kill, Void, Killing Machine. When killing an enemy, the speed increases by 30% within 5 seconds. Introduction. The King of Cactus. He learned powerful instant killing techniques in the harsh desert, and walked in the phantom. Chasing Soul. Name: Bloody Dandelion Chasing Soul, Royal Family, Race, Plant, Hero, Level 9, 0 10,000, Strength, 4,270, plus 4,270, Physique, 4,500, plus 4,500, Agility, 4,150, plus 4,150, Spirit, 5,000, plus 5,000, Skills: Killing Illusion, Parasitism, Evil Blood, Blooming Flowers, Parasite Destruction. Reduce the movement speed of the parasitized person by 20%. Introduction. Flowers are everywhere, growing endlessly. A plant that spreads at an extremely terrifying speed. Once it reaches a large scale, it will be a nightmare for the entire battlefield. After reading the combat power list, Lin You had a basic understanding of the strength of other 9th level lords, especially those at the front are probably old monsters, who have lived for tens or hundreds of years. The accumulation of resources over such a long period of time is very scary. His biggest source of strength now is the fragments of his godhead, his royal family, and his mutation ability. This is why he is able to dominate other lords. But those 9th level old monsters are different. Over the long years, you will definitely be able to obtain many powerful means that can improve your strength. Even if it can't compare to the mutant ability and the royal family, it won't be too far behind. So for these old monsters, his biggest advantage is the fragments of his godhead, because this is something that those old monsters most likely don't have. Otherwise they would have reached level 10 long ago. Think of this. Lin You continued to slide the ranking list, and continued to check the rankings above. It wasn't until there were more than 300 people that we finally saw the first person from the Great Wilderness Principality appear. No, 347, Wei Heng, Great Wilderness Principality, 32,200. This Wei Heng should be the strongest 9th level person in the Great Wilderness Principality. To be ranked more than 300 on the entire continent is enough to show how powerful he is. Lin You silently wrote down the name, and then scrolled down the ranking. Then he discovered that the name information of a small number of people was hidden, and only the country information and combat power values were displayed. Is there any hidden function? Lin You looked confused. After searching carefully, I found a hidden option at the bottom of the list interface. With the slightest touch of his fingers, a reminder suddenly sounded in his mind. Would you like to hide your name? Once hidden, others will not be able to view your name information, and you can unhide it at any time. What a great feature. I didn't expect that this list would be so user-friendly and you could hide your name freely. In this way, you won't be afraid that your specific strength will be exposed. Hide. Without hesitation, Lin You directly chose to hide. The next second, his name disappeared from the list, leaving only the words, Great Wilderness Principality, and combat power information on it. It's really convenient. After checking for a while and seeing nothing missing, he nodded with satisfaction, then closed the interface and went to rest in the tree house. The surrounding areas of the territory gradually fell into silence. A night of silence. Early the next morning, Lin You, who was sleeping soundly, was awakened by the sound of busy work. After Huangsha City rose to the 9th level, the entire city became more lively inside and outside. Many people who received the news came by airship to admire the news, and the residents of Huangsha City also began to hurry up with construction and plan the new land under the leadership of Shua Changgui. The first thing Lin Yu did when he woke up was to click on the territory interface and take a look. After one day passed, the liquidity increased by more than 1 million. Finally, there was no embarrassing situation of not having money to pay wages. However, his territory had just been upgraded and it was a critical time for outward development and expansion, so this little money was not enough. Moreover, he still has 70 or 80 positions for troops available, and he does not have the magic power to recruit troops. You have to find a way to make money. But the problem is, now that he can't go to the monster plane or the border battlefield, he has already sold all the treasures in his hand that can be sold. It's just embarrassing. After getting up and washing up briefly, he walked down from the tree house and came to the tower of troops. Yesterday, because there were so many things to do, I was so busy that I forgot to research the arms. I clicked on the building interface and took a look. I had gathered the materials required for the upgrade. I chose to upgrade without hesitation. Aha! Light flashed and various materials gathered quickly. The tower of troops, which originally had only 8 floors, was raised to 9 floors in a blink of an eye. Building name, Tower of Arms. Building level, level 9. Building introduction. You can research the advanced form of existing troops to make them recruitable, which requires the consumption of magic energy. The level of the troops cannot exceed the building level. Research speed, 30 days. Number of studies, 0 halves. Required for upgrade, 50,000 wood, 50,000 stone, 25,000 iron ore, 25,000 copper ore, 1 million mana. 9th level territory essence x1. The number of studies actually became 2. Looking at the interface changes after the upgrade, Lin Yu couldn't help but feel happy. In this way, he can study 2 arms at once, and the efficiency is much faster than before. Immediately click on the research interface and find the research option for plant dragons. Researching the 9th level ordinary arms requires 2.5 million mana energy. Are you sure? So expensive. It happened to be when he was at his poorest. Lin Yu glanced at the 2.7 million mana left in his pocket from yesterday's mutation, gritted his teeth, and chose to confirm. As for the remaining research position, we can only wait until there is more money. My lord, I need to see you for something. At this time, Xuzong's voice suddenly sounded outside the territory. Lin Yu closed the interface, looked outside, and asked Qing Ting to make way for them. Not a moment. With an excited look on his face, Xuzong hurriedly appeared with 2 followers. Meet the lord. The 3 of them saluted Lin Yu respectfully. Excuse me, what's the matter? Lin Yu asked. Back to my lord. There was news from the flying dock just now that an envoy from the king has come to discuss opening a trade route with us. King's envoy. Lin Yu was slightly surprised. The king actually wants to open a trade route here. This is incredible. If the negotiation is successful, then Huangsha City will be able to be connected to the principal capital, which is definitely great news for him. Where is the envoy now? Lin Yu asked quickly. Already in the reception hall. Okay, you guys go over there first. I'll be there soon. After saying that, Lin Yu turned back to the treehouse and put on the lord's clothes made for him by his previous subjects. After a brief tidying up, he directly mounted the Demon Emperor Dragon and rushed to Huangsha City with Lingxi. Soon, he reached the sky above the reception hall in the center of the city, turned over and landed on the ground. The lord is here. Wei Gang, who was guarding outside the hall, hurriedly came up with his men. Lin Yu raised his hand to signal to them, then quickly walked into the reception hall and saw the king's envoy. Surprisingly, it was the 9th level lord, who had exchanged the original fruit for him. Shen Hui. Brother Lin Yu, we meet again. Didn't I disturb you? Shen Hui, who was standing in the center of the hall, turned around and looked at Lin You with a smile. He looked much kinder than before, and he even called him brother. At this time, Lin Yu was no longer what he used to be, and he had become a 9th level lord like him. Naturally, we can no longer be as negligent as before. Feeling his change, Lin Yu smiled slightly. Brother, you can come. It's not too late for me to welcome you. Please sit down. With that said, the two of them came to sit on the side. After the servants brought the tea, Shen Hui took the lead and said, "The last time we met was half a month ago, right? I didn't expect that in a blink of an eye I would rise to the 9th level. I will offer you tea instead of wine. 1 cup. Congratulations on my promotion. Brother Shen, you're welcome. It's my turn to respect you." Lin Yu smiled and raised the teacup in his hand. He did not dare to look down upon this Shen Hui. After all, he is the king's right-hand man. Regardless of his status, other lords cannot compare with him. And Lin Yu also had the impression that Shen Hui's combat power was not low, and he was considered one of the stronger ones among the 9th level old lords. And just looking at his appearance, he is at least 50 or 60 years old. Presumably brother Lin Yu already knows the purpose of my visit this time, right? After serving tea, Shen Hui put down his teacup and got straight to the point. The king really plans to open a trade route between the royal capital and Huangsha City. Lin Yu couldn't help but ask. That's natural. Shen Hui nodded. I just received the order from the king himself and came to discuss with you. Brother, I wonder what you want. Brother, of course there's no problem with me. Nonsense. That is the royal capital. The largest and most prosperous city in the entire principality is also the center of the entire principality. As long as trade routes can be opened, his Huangsha City will definitely take off quickly and catch up with the old lord's territory in a short time. Since I don't have any objections, I won't talk nonsense anymore. When the time comes, I will ask someone to come over to discuss the details. Please be patient with me. Of course. Lin Yu nodded lightly. Just leave this kind of thing to the people below. There is no need to waste time on it. And besides opening the trade route, Lin Yu also has another very important thing. So after pondering, he couldn't help but ask, Brother Shen, you are an old man next to the king. You should know a lot of news. There is one thing I want to ask about. You want to ask about the monster plane and the border battlefield, right? Shen Hui's eyes were so vicious that he could see Lin Yu's thoughts at a glance. Lin Yu was not surprised by this. After all, this matter has become a big deal now, and many people are looking for information. The reason why I asked Shen Hui was because he was the king's right-hand man and might know something as expected. Facing his inquiry, the smile on Shen Hui's face gradually faded and became serious. This matter should not be spread casually. His voice was very low and his eyes were solemn. But since it is my brother who asked about it, I will reveal it a little bit. I hope you will not spread it casually. Okay. Lin Yu nodded seriously. Then Shen Hui took a deep breath and said in a voice that only the two of them could hear, actually, I just heard what others said. Emperor Xinyao seems to have been seriously injured. Are you sure? Lin Yu took a breath and leaned back slightly. Emperor Xinyao was seriously injured. How can this be? It shouldn't be wrong. And I also heard that the situation with other great emperors is not good either. They all seem to have been injured to varying degrees. Lin Yu opened his mouth, but no words came out. My heart was even more shocked to the extreme. With Shen Hui's qualifications, the news network is absolutely terrifying. In other words, what he mentioned is probably true. So what happened to actually injure so many great emperors? Did you find out what the reason was? Lin Yu asked in a low voice. No. Shen Hui shook his head. The higher-ups probably don't want to cause everyone to panic, so they have blocked all news. All we can do is wait. So, Lin Yu murmured to himself, and his tense mood gradually relaxed. Since he could still suppress the news, it probably hadn't reached an irreversible point yet, so he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. And just like Shen Hui said, all they can do now is wait. In just 2 days, the flight route between Huangsha City and the royal capital was successfully opened. In the past 2 days, Lin Yu has been busy taking care of various matters after the territory is upgraded period. Many lords also came to visit and congratulate him on his advancement. There were even 2 9th level lords among them, who came over and became familiar with each other. Lord, after statistics, the meeting gifts sent by those people totaled 80 million magic crystals, 2.36 million kilograms of grain, and countless other precious materials. Please take a look. Inside the territory, Xue Changui handed Lin Yu a statistical account while reporting. So many. Lin Yu took over the account in surprise. In the past 2 days, apart from the 2 9th level lords, the most people who came to congratulate them were the 7th and 8th level lords. 80 million magic energy is not a small amount for these 2 levels of lords. Even if they were added up together, it was a bit beyond his expectation. It just so happens that he is short of money now, so it can be regarded as a temporary solution to his urgent need. Okay, leave 50 million in working capital, specifically to expand the city and recruit people. You can take care of the rest. Lin Yu deposited 50 million mana into Huangsha City's working capital, leaving only 30 million for himself as a backup. Now is the time when Huangsha City is undergoing a massive expansion, and this little money may not be enough to support it for long. After all, he has a 9th level territory, and is connected to the trade of the royal capital. He has to go to a 1,000,000 level city, so the money for construction will naturally be indispensable. By the way, what did the people sent by the king say today? Lin Yu thought of something and then asked, back to Lord. It's about regional jurisdiction. Xue Chonggui clasped his fists respectfully. Regional jurisdiction, yes. Every 9th level lord in our principality has the right to govern the surrounding areas. All cities within a radius of 500 miles are now under the jurisdiction of our Huangsha city. When saying this, Xue Chonggui's voice was obviously trembling. I think back then, their area was still the most barren frontier land, with not even an 8th level lord. Now, Huangsha City has not only become a 9th level territory in one fell swoop, but also has the management rights of this area. It can be said that earth-shaking changes have taken place. To this, Lin Yu had heard about it. It was the king who issued the authority to let the 9th level lords help manage the surrounding areas. 5% of all territorial taxes within the jurisdiction will be provided to the 9th level lords, and then the principality will extract half, and the remaining half will belong to the 9th level lords. The reason why there is no tax on their side is because they are too poor and there is no tax to levy at all. Nowadays, the rise of Huangsha City has gradually boosted the surrounding economy, making this land no longer barren, and the tax revenue of the principality will naturally follow. After all, no matter what, this is also on the territory of the principality. Okay, I'll leave the contact arrangements to you. If those cities are unwilling to cooperate, just tell me directly. Understood. Xue Chonggui responded respectfully. Immediately afterwards, he took out another account book, and continued to report other things. And right now, on the Void platform used to recruit new lords, the 3-monthly joint recruitment has just begun, and the entire platform is full of 6th level newcomers. The person in charge of the recruitment of the Great Wilderness Principality was an 8th level lord, who served under the king. The old god was leaning on the presiding position with his legs crossed. Suddenly, a 7th level person in charge hurried from a distance. Master Inquisitor, there is a new order from above. While shouting, he raised a golden document in his hand. What order? The 8th level lord sat up straight, causing the new lords who were queuing up for testing to look this way. The person in charge did not block it, and said directly, Sir, the superiors just sent an order saying that the rating of the territories within 500 miles around Huangsha City will be directly upgraded to S level, because the territory information has not had time to change. So let us pay attention to it. Do not assign according to the original rating. Huangsha City, you mean that Mr. Lin's territory? The 8th level lord regained his energy, and quickly took the document. When he unfolded it, he saw that it had the king's seal printed on it. It seems that due to that person's influence, the ratings of these territories have been temporarily changed. Listen up, everyone. The F level and E level territories around Huangsha City will all be allocated as S level. His voice was not loud, but it reached the ears of every person in charge clearly. Even the new lords who were queuing up for the test could hear clearly. Suddenly, everyone looked surprised and started talking. Senior, why did the territory's rating suddenly upgrade from F to S? A new lord couldn't help but ask the person in charge, who specialized in recording data. As soon as these words came out, the other newcomers nearby looked over, all with curious expressions on their faces. Oh, you were talking about those territories, because a 9th level lord has just been promoted nearby. Being assigned there is equivalent to receiving the protection of that lord. Of course, the rating must be improved, the person in charge said without raising his head. Obviously he had expected this to happen. 9th level. The eyes of the new lords suddenly widened. Those 8th level principal inquisitors are already so powerful that they can suffocate them. How terrifying should the 9th level ones be? If they can be protected by such a strong person, it will definitely be very beneficial to their future development. In an instant, many new lords who had received the news gathered around, and asked about the S-class territory. Even those talented people with good potential were attracted by the name of the 9th level lord, and came to inquire about him. The lively scene made the representatives of other principalities nearby couldn't help but look askance. In general, the birth of a 9th level lord had a huge impact. The Void platform is just a miniature of it, and as the source of all this, Lin Yu actually didn't feel much. After listening to Xue Chonggui's report, he took the 30 million magic energy he had just obtained to the World Tree, and upgraded the more important buildings in the territory one by one, raising them all to the 9th level. After the level is upgraded, the effects of the buildings have been greatly improved. For example, the training ground increases the training speed of the people, the breeding ground improves the efficiency of raising monsters, and the blacksmith shop improves the equipment manufacturing efficiency. They are all important ways to improve the comprehensive level of the residents, and are also a decisive factor in attracting foreign residents to stay here for a long time. They are all incomparable to the 8th level lords. After upgrading the building and using the newly obtained materials to build 5 airships, there was just 20 million left in mana. After checking that nothing is missing, Lin You came and sat down next to him, clicked on the Principality channel, checked the news, and ate the breakfast sent by his subjects. Now that the monster plane and the border battlefield can't be visited, the lords are basically idle. They all gather in the Principality to chat and joke, or visit each other. All in all, it's very boring. This was probably the first time he had seen such a harmonious and peaceful day since he came to this world, and he couldn't help but feel a little emotional. During this period, I have been running around to survive and become stronger. How long has it been since he had such a relaxing and comfortable life? I guess I can barely remember it, right? This is also a good time to relax physically and mentally. Lord, are you inside? Just as he was thinking about it, a question suddenly came from outside, interrupting Lin Yu's thoughts. Through the spiritual connection of the demon emperor dragon in the sky, he saw Wei Gang standing outside with a group of guards. At a glance, "Come in," the voice fell, and the green vine forest gave way to a path. It didn't take long. Wei Gang walked into the territory alone and hurriedly came to him. "What's up?" Lin Yu asked while eating. "Lord, please wait a moment. Various forces in our Huangsha city and other surrounding cities will jointly hold a monster hunting competition in the Gobi to select the younger generation of cultivators. The lords of each city have basically arrived. I would like to ask you to come over and take charge of the overall situation." Hunting competition. Lin Yu paused. Yes. This kind of competition is held every year. It is set up by those forces specifically to recruit talented young people. Many young people with good talents who want to join the force will come here. We can take this opportunity to recruit some good talents, Wei Gang explained respectfully. In every city, there are basically forces of various sizes, colleges, gangs, families, training sects, you name it. Even in Huangsha City, many forces have been born recently, and they are one of the main sources of cultivators in the city. Moreover, promoting the development and training of the younger generation will also be extremely beneficial to the future development of Huangsha City. At least there is no need to worry about talent transfer. There's nothing to do for the time being anyway, so it might as well go and have a look. You can also kill time and meet the lords of other cities. Thinking of this, Lin Yu nodded and said, "Okay, you go ahead and make arrangements. I'll be there later. Then my subordinate will take his leave first." Wei Gang cupped his fists and bowed, then hurriedly left, leading his men to the Gobi. And at this time, the edge of the Gobi, teams of forces from major cities gathered here, making the originally desolate Gobi become lively. In addition to these powerful teams, there are also many young people without teams. Most of them look to be only 12 or 13 years old, and the older ones are around 15 years old. They have basically just reached the age of starting cultivation, which is the best time to show their talents. Looking around, every young man's face was full of excitement and anticipation. They gathered together in 2s and 3s and chatted excitedly. "I heard that many representatives from big forces are here this time. I wonder if I have a chance to be selected. If you want to join those big forces, you probably have to rank in the top 100 in this hunting competition. Look, they are representatives from Taiwa City Spirit Sword Sect and Thunderfire City Skyfire Academy. And over there, it seems to be the Fiery Sword Sect in Zhongzhou City, and even they are here. Look at the front. Are they the 7th level lords nearby?" It's true. Even such a big shot is here. In this barren land on the border of the Principality, the 7th level is already considered the top level of combat power. Representatives of all the major forces are basically at this level. One can imagine these boys and girls, who are generally only at the 1st or 2nd level, and have just embarked on the journey of cultivation, are so excited when they see these big shots. Each of them hopes that they can perform well in this hunting competition, and be favored by representatives of major forces. In this way, they can join these big forces, soar into the sky, and their lives may even change. So everyone is working hard secretly, preparing to stand out and come out on top in the hunting competition that awaits. Some of those who were lonely and stood alone in the corner also had their eyes flashing, shining with incomparable determination. And at this time, the major forces represent the front of the team. Those 7th level representatives gathered together and chatted in low voices. I heard that this competition is hosted by Huangsha City. I wonder if that adult will show up later. It would be great if I could meet that person. I'm afraid this is a bit difficult. When I came here yesterday with gifts, I saw several 8th level people waiting outside. Indeed, if you can't even see the 8th level, how can it be the turn of a small force like us? These representatives of the 7th level basically come from the top forces, or are the lords of a city. In the area on the border of the principality, he can be regarded as a prominent figure. Behind them, there are even more forces, large and small, all wanting to recruit a few good seedlings in this competition to strengthen themselves. This is also the origin of the monster hunting competition. So every year at this time, young girls and boys who meet the requirements from the surrounding lord cities and aboriginal cities will come accompanied by their elders. The purpose is to join the force of your choice and truly embark on the journey of cultivation. Looking around, there are at least tens of thousands of people, and they are still increasing, gathered on the Gobi Desert outside the forest of Huangsha City. Suddenly, a shout interrupted everyone's discussion. The representatives of the major forces were shocked and turned back to look in the direction of Huangsha City. Above the lush forest, a massive team of flying mounts appeared, approaching rapidly. At the front of the team was a huge, mighty and domineering plant dragon, accompanied by several other giant dragons. Wherever it goes, strong winds rise. At the same time, it was also accompanied by a terrifying pressure. It's that lord's mount. The representatives of each force glared and immediately rushed forward anxiously, waiting aside. That extremely respectful look immediately shocked the boys and girls in the distance. Is this still a big shot they know? Unfortunately, before they could think about it, the huge team of flying mounts had already landed slowly in the roaring wind. It fell right in front of the teams of the major forces. Welcome to you, Your Excellency. Greetings, my lord. All the representatives cheered loudly, with excitement written on their faces. Unexpectedly, this big shot would actually come in person. You must know that that is an existence that even the 8th level powerhouse may not be able to see, and he is also the real controller of the entire principality border. Forgive me, Lin You, who was sitting on the demon emperor's dragon's back, glanced around at the people below and was secretly surprised. He didn't expect that so many forces would gather in this monster hunting competition. I'm afraid all the powerful forces in the surrounding platoons have arrived. No wonder he said that the road was much busier than usual. Looking at the young faces looking away in the distance, Lin You felt emotional. It should be the mainstay of the principality's borders in the future. Without wasting any time, he turned over and landed on the ground. Accompanied by Wei Gang and a team of guards, he slowly arrived in front of representatives of various forces. I've met Mr. Lin. At this time, a familiar face in the team stood up and saluted him respectfully. Munkingen. Lin Yu looked at the visitor with a dumb expression. Isn't this his neighbor, the Lord of Shuani City? I didn't expect you to reach level 7. How are you doing recently? Speaking of which, Munkingen arrived at the same time as him, only a few days later than him. Unexpectedly, other city lords kept changing, but this guy was still alive and rose to the 7th level. Thanks to your care, everything is fine now. Munkingen saluted slightly again. The look of him chatting happily with Lin Yu immediately made other lords and power representatives jealous, but they did not dare to speak out. The parents with their children in the distance finally found out Lin Yu's identity, and they all became excited. Dad, who is that person? A young man with extraordinary temperament asked curiously. That is the Lord of Huangsha City, Lin Yu. The young father's voice was extremely trembling, and he hurriedly warned, Tiener, remember, we must do our best later. If we can be selected by that gentleman, then we the Zhou family can definitely join the ranks of top families. Top family? The young man looked at his father in shock, and then glanced at Lin Yu, in the distance, in disbelief. And the same conversation was happening in every corner of the field. Every parent and elder who accompanied them was sternly exhorting their juniors to perform at their best. Some even gritted their teeth, and took out all the treasures at the bottom of the box, and handed them to them, because these people all know the terrifying identity of that big shot. As long as they can be selected, it will be of great benefit to them, and even the powerful families behind them. It is not an exaggeration to even say that they will rise in one day. And while they were talking about it, Lin Yu had also finished chatting with the representatives of various forces, and accompanied by them, came to the front of the entire participating team. Let's get started. I'll just watch from the side. As soon as the voice fell, the entire team began to move. Under the leadership of those in charge, they rushed towards the depths of the Gobi. The location where they held the competition this time was at the large cliff, in the middle of the Gobi Desert. Due to environmental reasons, there is a terrain with a height difference of 100 meters, and there are monsters below the third level everywhere. Standing on the cliff, you can just see the endless Gobi Desert, which is the best position for competition soon. The whole team came to the top of the cliff. After receiving Lin Yu's approval through his eyes, a 7th level practitioner responsible for hosting the competition stood up and said loudly to the young girls, "You all probably already know the rules of the game, so I won't go into details. The first level is this 100-meter cliff. The first thing you have to do is to rely on your own strength to cross the cliff from here and go to the Gobi below. No matter what means you use, as long as you can get down, otherwise you will be directly disqualified from the competition. Do you understand? Clear?" Loud shouts sounded from the cliff. Many boys and girls have expressions of eagerness to try, but some people were frightened for a while because this 100-meter cliff is quite a challenge for them at the first and second levels. If one of them is not good, he may fall down and end up being shattered to pieces. In addition, the cliff walls are smooth, and there are few places to stay, which makes it even more difficult. This level setting is interesting. Wei Gang, was it you who came up with it? Lin Yu looked at the boys and girls waiting on the edge of the cliff with a smile on his face. When he first came here, he had already reached level 6, so I was not stumped by this cliff. But these little guys are different. The strength of the first and second level is only a little greater than that of an ordinary adult. If you want to climb down from this 100-meter vertical cliff, you will probably have to spend some effort. Lord, it was the unsatisfactory boys under my command who came up with this idea. They said they planned to use this test to screen out those who were weak-minded and wanted to get through. Wei Gang whispered from the side. Well, it's not bad. Let's give them some rewards when we get back. Let me see, just a set of 8th level equipment for each person. Thank you, Lord. When Wei Gang heard this, he was immediately happy, not because of this so-called award, but because of the recognition from Lin Yu. However, he didn't know. When the representatives of other forces nearby heard Lin Yu's words, their eyes nearly popped out. What the hell? Each person has a set of 8th level equipment. Could it be that they heard wrongly? To know, even representatives of forces like them only have one piece of 8th level equipment on their bodies, and they are treated like treasures. In the end, I just did a small thing and got a set directly. Some people whose hearts are not strong enough just feel like they are out of breath and extremely envious. And just then, the person hosting the competition also finished his speech and jogged to Lin Yu and saluted respectfully. Sir, after I've explained the rules, do you think there's anything else you'd like to add? As soon as he finished speaking, other representatives and the boys and girls nearby also looked at Lin Yu. Lin Yu thought for a moment, smiled slightly and said, since it is a competition, then of course there must be a win. Let's see. The first place in this competition will be rewarded with a level 5 equipment, the top 10 will be rewarded with a level 4 equipment, and the top 100 will be rewarded with a level 3 equipment. You can use the ranking information to customize it in my dwarf blacksmith shop. Level 5. Customized equipment for dwarves. Representatives of various forces were shocked. There are 100 pieces of equipment, and they are all customized by the dwarves. This handwriting is a bit too big. Not to mention the boys and girls, all of them were excited. Level 5 equipment is absolutely unimaginable to them. It also made them secretly determined to win the first place in this competition and get equipment rewards. Seeing that their fighting spirit was aroused, the person in charge of the competition immediately struck while the iron was hot and said loudly, "You have all heard what this adult said. As long as you enter the top 100, you will get generous rewards. Without further ado, the competition begins now. Rush. The reward is mine. I've got the first place." With shouts, all the contestants turned into a tide, rushing towards the cliff and starting to climb down. Some even jumped directly and glide downward through various means. "You are quite brave," Lin Yu whispered, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. "If you jump from this 100-meter drop, if you make a bad move, you may even lose your life." But those boys and girls jumped down without hesitation. They were really brave, and it was immediately obvious that they were extraordinary. "Should we pay attention?" Wei Gang asked in a low voice. "Well, if your character is good enough, you can consider recruiting him." Lin Yu nodded. Immediately afterwards, among the major force teams, figures riding flying mounts flew high into the sky and went to various places to monitor the performance of the contestants. A huge competition began. Boom! A muffled sound sounded at the bottom of the cliff. After nearly 10 minutes of climbing, a young man finally landed successfully and reached the real competition venue. It was a young man in brocade clothes, who was about 12 years old. Although he is young, his strength has reached the second level and is stronger than most of the contestants. The rules of this competition are to see who kills more monsters, and the ranking is calculated based on the number of magic crystals obtained. So as soon as he landed, the young man in brocade didn't stop. He turned into sharp arrows and rushed out, intending to kill a few more monsters before others. Want to be the first? No way. At this time, another shout rang out. The young man turned around and saw a swarthy boy, who was much stronger than his peers, also landed on the ground and quickly approaching him. Behind him, screams and screams continued to sound. All the contestants were struggling to climb down, and some fell directly from high altitude. They were caught by the person in charge of the venue, but they were also disqualified from the competition. Ha! If you have the ability, I'll catch you. The young man in gilded clothes withdrew his gaze, ignored the black boy, and accelerated towards the outside. The two of them moved in tandem, quickly leaving the others far behind, and finally encountered the first monster, a second-level colorful leopard. The young man in brocade couldn't help but feel happy when he saw this. As long as he can kill this first second-level monster, his performance will definitely be extremely impressive. When the time comes, he may be able to win the praise of the big shot in Huangsha City, and successfully join Huangsha's staff. By then, his future will be bright. This monster is mine. Unexpectedly, the black boy also rushed up at this time. Without saying a word, he jumped up high and punched the colorful leopard that was rushing towards them. Obviously, he has a broad range of attacks. Lin You stood on top of the cliff, watching the movements and techniques of this black boy, and felt a sense of familiarity. It's like Wei Gang's path. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but look at Wei Gang beside him, only to see Wei Gang scratching his head in embarrassment. Then what? Lord, this brat is my son, Wei Yuan. Your son? Lin Yu looked at him suspiciously, then looked at the young boy again. Not to mention, they are quite similar in terms of their dark appearance. Your son has no shortage of resources. Why is he messing around? In Huangsha City, many children of ordinary citizens came to participate in the competition, so it was not illegal for Wei Gang's son to participate. It's just that Wei Gang is now the commander of Huangsha City, and his own strength has reached the 8th level, under the guidance of Yuedonin. What kind of resources do you want? Lord, forgive me. I just want him to practice more, and improve his experience, Wei Gang said quickly. Okay, I don't mean to blame you. Lin Yu waved his hand casually. Just be careful not to break the rules, so as not to be gossiped about. Lord, please rest assured, I have collected all the equipment on him, and I will never break the rules. Wei Gang immediately stood up straight. Good guy, have you collected all the equipment? It was hard to tell that Wei Gang was so strict with his son, which made Lin Yu more and more interested in this game. And while the two were talking, the battle between Wei Yuan and the young man in Jinyi in the distance had reached a fever pitch. Both of them were injured, but they attacked fiercely. The fist wind and sword light kept falling on the colorful leopard, beating the colorful leopard to retreat. Finally, the two of them seized the opportunity and attacked the colorful leopard at the same time. The colorful leopard screamed and was completely blown away, landing a few meters away. After twitching on the ground for a moment, there was no more sound. The energy on it also quickly gathered on the corpse, and eventually turned into 6 black crystals, which are the magic crystals commonly used by practitioners. This is also the difference between a cultivator and a lord after killing a monster, because the lord has the power of the system. After killing the monster, the energy of the monster will automatically turn into magic energy and be stored in the resource space. The cultivator appears in the form of physical magic crystal and can be used to absorb and practice. We killed this monster at the same time. Let's split it equally. Wei Yuan came to the body and said to the young man in brocade, not intending to take advantage. The young man in brocade had a calm voice, and directly put away the 3 magic crystals handed over by Wei Yuan. This way, the two of them became the first to kill the monster, which immediately made Wei Gang on the cliff blush and smile happily. But immediately, other contestants also passed the first test, and rushed towards the gobi. Wei Yuan and the young man in brocade looked at each other. How about it? Are you interested in working together? At least get over these guys first. Okay, divide the things equally. Without any unnecessary nonsense, the two of them started moving again, heading deeper, intending to kill more monsters before the others. Roar! Unexpectedly, a shocking roar sounded at this moment. On the originally peaceful Gobi Desert, a large black shadow suddenly appeared, approaching rapidly amidst the rumble of footsteps and the smoke and dust in the sky. At the frontmost position, there was a black giant bear exuding a terrifying aura, which caused the expressions of all the representatives of the forces to change. No, it's a tide of beasts. Those little guys are in danger. It's too late. It's fast. As soon as their voices fell, The giant black bear had already arrived less than a kilometer away. Lin You and the team finally saw the attributes of the giant bear. It's actually an 8th level F-level Lord Monster. Lord Monster, Lin Yu's eyes narrowed. Monsters of this level have actually begun to appear in the Gobi Desert. Could it be that the transformation of monsters is accelerating again? Go and stop them. Without hesitation, he stretched out his hand, and Lingxi and Zihan appeared in front of him. Just when the representatives of those forces were about to take action, Lingxi turned into a stream of light and swept towards the beast tide, and at the same time, he pointed lightly with the violet staff in his hand. Rumble, violent vibrations resounded throughout the Gobi Desert. On the originally empty loess, large vines suddenly rose up, forming a vine wall that stretched for miles, completely blocking the way of the beast tide. Immediately afterwards, dandelions appeared all over the sky, fell from the cliff, and spread into the beast tide with the wind. Boom! Those monsters roared and slammed into the wall made of vines. The leader's Lord-level black bear's eyes were red, and its huge claws were tearing at the vines frantically. Even from a distance, you can feel a strong sense of oppression coming towards your face. So strong. The representatives of each force stared at the crazy monsters with wide eyes. He was able to block the entire beast tide with his own strength. Is this the true strength of the 9th level? Before they could think more, Lin Yu's voice came again. Burst. With a low cry, the dandelions in the monster group exploded, killing a large number of monsters on the spot. Immediately afterwards, new dandelions began to bloom on the flesh and blood of the monster corpses, spreading rapidly in the surroundings in a breeze. Then by sucking the blood of the monster, one can pass it on to 10, and 10 to 100. The spread was so fast that it covered the entire beast tide in the blink of an eye. Then, something strange happened. The monsters that were still frantically hitting the vines turned around and started attacking each other as if they were possessed. Even the leader of the Lord-level giant bears was possessed by dandelion and brutally tore apart the bodies of the monsters around him. The entire beast wave instantly became a mess. The representatives of the major forces looked at each other in confusion. Seeing this strange scene, they stopped trying to rush forward to help. There are only roars and screams of monsters in my ears, filling both inside and outside the desert. Wait until the sound gradually subsides. Are there any standing monsters on the field? Even the Lord Giant Bear was finally killed on the spot by a wooden thorn pierced through the head by Lingxi. Well done. Lin You sighed in admiration, very satisfied with the effect of the soul-chasing skill. At least monsters below level 9 cannot resist the control of its killing illusion. And after this beast wave, he actually gained a full 10 million mana, which was really an unexpected gain. Seeing that all the monsters fell down, he said to the representatives of the forces on the side, "Everyone happens to be here. If you are interested in these corpses, just go and get them. It is a meeting gift for you." "Sir, do you really mean what you say?" Representatives from various forces were shocked and some couldn't believe it. You must know that there are many 8th level monsters in this beast tide, which is absolutely unimaginable for them who generally only have 7th level monsters. Who dared to think too much? After looking at each other, they suddenly rushed out of the team and went straight towards the beast tide. As for the body of the Lord-level giant bear, Lin You asked Lingxi to bring it back and put it into the original space. That's all. Until more than half an hour passed, all the bodies were finally disposed of and the game continued. But this time everyone was cautious and sent some extra people to the depths to investigate, so as to avoid causing any trouble again. The boys and girls below were stunned by the strength Lin You showed just now, and it took a while to come back to their senses. At the same time, a longing for high-level people also arose in their hearts, and everyone worked harder, hoping that they could be selected by Huangsha City. A huge competition continued in full swing, without being affected by the beast tide at all. Lin You, who was free again, returned to his seat and sat down, watching from the side. Watching them work together to deal with the monsters, watching them work hard, is a pleasure only. This leisure is still a luxury for him. Just as the sun was setting in the sky, and the night was about to rise, a familiar and loud voice finally broke the peace of the entire empire and the 10 major principalities. "Boys, get ready and gather in our imperial capital early tomorrow morning." It's the voice of Emperor Xinyao. Lin You was shocked and immediately clicked on the Empire channel and saw a golden message at the top. The prefix is clearly Emperor Xinyao, finally coming. Lin Yu's eyes narrowed slightly. The calm before the storm passed, and what followed was the surging wind and rain, and it was a heavy rain that swept across the entire world.
Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.